What is going on, people? Cool cats and kittens of the internet. All my listeners, my what, five? No, I'm kidding. If you're listening to the show, I say this every week. Thank you. This is fun. I don't know what I'm doing, but we're having fun with it. Um, today's a great day. It's, if you're having a good Saturday, shout out to you. Saturday before championship weekend, the Bills are one win away from the Super Bowl. How about that? So I got a rep just for some good luck. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go Buffalo. Anyways, this is not about the Bills. We are I'm joined by a special guest. I've known this guy for I don't even know how many years. It's been we linked up when I was in college, so I think it's been at least 3 or 4. Geez, where did the time go? My man Jack Steindorf.
My dog.
I hope I'm saying that right. Jack works in music publicity, and he's an artist manager. I love this guy. Tweets, I think every Monday, he says today's a great day to be great, and I think I hit him randomly. I was like, dude, I love it, keep it up. And then I was like, hey, want to come on the podcast? He's like, absolutely. So here we are. But I'm really excited to do this episode with Jack and just catch up and talk to him about life. But before we get started, shout out to the What's Poppin' Popcorn guys. They hooked me up with some of their goods. I went and saw them today, and they're like, Ryan, we love you. We got you. And I was like, man, I appreciate that. So I'm about to try some of this buff wing real quick. Let's see. This is, oh, that's good. I'm a big movie and popcorn guy, and their stuff is honestly some of the best I've ever tasted, but we'll get in that another time. Anyways, Jack, everyone, welcome Jack Steindorf to the RPD Show. What?
Man, I appreciate you having me on. I'm stoked. And I have to also say the What's Poppin' Popcorn is a hell of a name. Did that come before or after the Jack Harlow song?
I think it was way before. It was just kind of like a gimmick, like these two guys they were like chefs, and they're just like,
okay,
like, let's start making popcorn. And
dude, that's such a badass name. I love it.
Like, it's like, what's poppin'? And I was like, man, when the world's normal, I will try my hardest to get you guys with Jack Harlow. No, I doubt I can, but it's like kind of meant to be. But
no, it absolutely is meant to be. Why has it not happened yet?
I don't know. I just it's definitely gonna happen. I mean, they're like growing at a great rate, so it's like I think they kind of have a buzz now, and at least here locally.
Do they just have the one shop? Is it?
Yeah, but they ship like.
Can I get them shipped out to California?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll double check to make sure. But they love. I mean, shit. They might just send you some just because you're in California and fuck with us, dude. Like that's the type of people they are.
Whatever works.
Yeah. So I'll definitely try and get that going. But the first question I like to ask guests when they come on, I actually haven't done this in a while, so hold me accountable, people. What's one thing you're grateful for today? It's just something, so easy to overthink and not think about. So
I'm going to give like the most generic answer, but I think also is honestly the most true answer, which is like, I'm grateful to be alive every single day. It's like when people talk about like the lottery of like being alive, you know what I mean? Like whatever the fucking odds are, like 1 is 700 million that you'll be alive. Like that's a crazy thing. And so honestly grateful to be alive. And then, you go to like, I won the lottery of like growing up in a good home and living in the US and like being able to pursue what I love and things like that. Like, I mean, it's a blessing, you know what I mean? Life's a blessing every single day. Like to be able to take advantage of every day. I think for me is a huge blessing. Grateful for my health. And really just, for my friends, of course, can't leave that one out. Blessed every day, man.
I love it. That's, blessed. I mean, I think it's important to remember the little things,
I think that for me, sometimes I'm not yet one of those people who writes down like what they're grateful for every day, but I think that's such like a kick-ass thing to do.
Yeah.
Like to me, that's the coolest thing. And I think when you wake up grateful, it kind of starts your day off strong.
It does.
Honestly, as I'm speaking, I'm kind of convincing myself to start doing this maybe. But like, I think it's the coolest thing to wake up grateful because it sets the tone for your day. Um, and literally being alive is, the biggest blessing.
It is. I mean, there's people that are dying every day due to what's going on with COVID and all that, yada yada yada. And I mean, it's sad, but the fact that we're alive and able to have this conversation, it's a blessing in itself. But I mean, shoot, I think you should start doing that, man. I mean, I should start doing it. I mean, I think just that positive thinking can turn around your day, like, because you could wake up in a bad mood or just like, I don't want to do this work. I don't want to, whatever, just like not feeling it. And then switching, because I've definitely done it before where I'm just like, I wake up and I just don't have it. I don't have the sauce today. Like there's something off. And then you kind of have to remind, something happens and you remind yourself and your perspective switches and you're kind of like, you know what? Like this is not so bad. I'm good.
Any little win can totally
Yeah.
set your day off in the right direction, especially if you let it set your day off in the right direction and then don't let anything else bog you down early, right? Like, I don't know, like you were talking about my great day to be great tweets, like that stupid ass shit, like which I think like really is like relatively like a corny thing that I do, but like really it starts my day off well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I don't. I mean, keep it up because like
I appreciate you.
Like whenever I'm scrolling and and I see that, it's like refreshing. It's like, all right, it's just kind of it's refreshing to see because there's a lot of bullshit on Twitter and so all that.
Yep.
So, but
no, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, man, like it's been a minute since we've really spoken like this. So I mean, it's good to see you. It's good to talk to you. What have you been up to? Like what's good? What's popping?
What's popping?
Yeah.
Man, I feel like quarantine for me, I mean, talk about blessings. Like, I feel like quarantine has been a blessing, which is maybe like selfish to say just because the entire world is shit show, for lack of a better word. But it's been really good. I think I've been able to get to know myself better and to get better and to kind of figure out like where I want to exist and how I want to exist in the world and like what I want out of life. And honestly, just have learned so fucking much about, music and the business and myself throughout the last, how long have we been in this? 10 months?
I think it's approaching almost a year.
Yeah. But I've been working on the music publicity front, which has been great. Managing a couple artists and really just trying to learn, man. I mean, I think for me, it's about two things right now, which is doing the work and learning in terms of professionally, right? Absolutely. It's about doing the work and learning, and helping people, right? Like, because obviously this is like a tough time for a shit ton of people. And so being there in any capacity for any amount of people, I think is obviously important.
It's very important. And I love how you said, though, not only professionally, but how you've learned things about yourself, because I think you're just preaching to the choir there. Because I honestly, like, if I were to go back pre-COVID, like 2019, I don't even think I'd recognize that like that person wouldn't recognize me today, where it's just like, I've learned so much about myself, and I'm sure you've learned even more about yourself.
Man, I'm a
like that. Like it's wild. It's like the amount of self growth. Can I speak growth?
Got it. You got it. You
good? That's happened. It's kind of like weird because it's been such a like, roller coaster in a sense, not where it's like kind of a steady, but I think it's only gonna, the way I look at it, I think whatever happens post this, we're going to look at it and be like, man, we can do it. Like anything else will be easy. Like we got this. Like we've struggled through the worst couple years of our lives. And,
I mean, it's funny because maybe it's like that I personally haven't been, knock on wood, too much affected by it, right? And so it's like I've been able to focus on helping other people and getting better myself, which like being able to do both of those at once, like the coolest shit, right? And like I love what you said about like you wouldn't recognize your 2019 self, because I think I'm the same. Um, and I mean, honestly, it's like the luxury of time, the luxury of not commuting every day, um, has been amazing. It's been like really like a treat to be able to, call your friends who are struggling whenever, right? Because you know that everyone's just at home, and focus on. And honestly, like I've been reading. I never read before. You know what I mean? And like little things like that. And so I definitely hear you. I think COVID in some ways has been a big blessing. And I think you're right. I think it will make me better long term as well.
Yeah, I'm glad. I hope it makes a lot of us better. It's it's very easy to look in the mirror, even though like none of this is really our fault. But it's kind of, at least early on, it made me look at myself and be like, at least in a reflective way, like how can I be better, like as a human being, like to be, just not that like I don't know. It's a weird. I don't even know where I was going with that, but it's just you look at yourself. I guess you kind of look at yourself and you see yourself in the mirror and you're like questioning, just like how you can get better from this when we're
I think
so
questioning is step one, right?
yeah. It's like you're kind of everyone's kind of on the same playing field, and it's like I don't know. It's been definitely a weird time. So I mean,
Weird time would be an understatement, but
yeah.
no,
I mean, there's no words to really describe it, but I'm glad to hear though that you're doing well and you've been able to stay healthy and just continue to thrive and build towards what
and same for you. I would imagine. I mean, from the few times that we have talked, I feel like you've never been in better spirits, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I'm normally a pretty optimistic person, and like I don't but it has been a really rough year. I mean, it's just like, I mean, I'm really grateful that I had the courage to start this podcast, even though it's not really like, but it's like something to do and look forward to and
Yeah.
do. But like, I mean, I was working on the touring side of the music business and thought I was really hitting the stride with it, and I don't know. I guess it's been a real question of like, kind of what do I want to do next with my life, and it's like been a weird, but I've been patient and just been doing the best I can, and I think that in itself is enough, especially during this. So
And honestly, patience is a big thing that I've learned over the last few months. Just because just because like you're sitting at home and like it's harder to feel like you're doing as much as you are,
right,
right? Just because you're not physically out and about. But I think this year has definitely taught me patience, just in being the kind of person that I want to be, right? And like how long it's going to take to get there and how I'm going to get there. Um, and I think that's been like the ultimate test of patience, and like just this realization that okay, it's going to take me some time to get where I want to go, and this is X, Y, and Z is how I'm going to get there, right? Um, anyway,
yeah, no, I think that's really important. Just it's really, I mean, everyone says it, but it is about the journey, and I think the
and
patience, just
that's another
patience.
thing is being process oriented.
Yeah,
This year that has hit me on the head, like
yeah,
really,
it
because it's like the journey's everything. And I
yeah.
think I think honestly, pre like 2019, Jack probably would have been like, oh, like that's just like a corny saying.
But this
And
is
like even
living
if I
proof.
still think it is a corny saying, I believe it. You know what I mean? And I think being obsessed, like obsessing over the day and still aiming for the stars has been like a really big realization for me.
Okay. I love, I mean, shoot for the stars. I mean, you might land on the moon, fall short. Like,
Pop Smoke said it, right?
who
Rest in
said,
peace.
oh, right. I believe so. But one thing that's really helped me, at least, is it may sound silly, but I like write down, at least I try to, if I remember, I write down everything that I did in like that day as like kind of like a log, whether it's like
Interesting.
took trash out, when just to show my mind and myself like, whoa, you actually did a lot. Because also it's very easy to get worked up and be like, I need to do more or whatever, but like then you unwind at the end of the day and you're like, well, shit, I already did. I worked till 4, then I recorded a podcast and I did X, and it's like,
Out of
yeah,
curiosity, how
I
did you
guess
pick
I
that up?
really am doing more than like my mind's telling, you know what I mean? So it's
Cool.
kind of a little trick, but I thought I would share that with.
No, that's cool. I like that. How did you pick that up? And where did you hear it?
Um,
Or did you just
I
pull it out of your
well, what inspired it was Matthew McConaughey. He was on Rogan. He was saying
Mm.
how he'll write down like on his to-do list, which I do the same thing too. I'll write down the smallest of tasks. So like I kind of build momentum. Because if I look at a to-do list and it's like there's like 4 big things that I have to do, it's kind of like you kind of want to procrastinate, like, fuck, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I
Yeah.
don't. But like if it's just like take out trash or go get gas in the car or whatever, and you can cross that out and
Mhm.
erase it or whatever, it's kind of like telling your mind and just like, okay, like I can do this. I'm moving. I'm doing something. And then it's kind of on the same concept of journaling, kind of what you do, but also it's I don't know. So shout out to Matthew McConaughey, one of the
Shout out to
great.
Matthew
You know,
McConaughey.
but I heard him say that on Rogan, and I just was like,
Okay, wait.
that's so useful because he says he's the same way where he kind of thinks he needs to be doing more, and it's like why not simplify it? Why not trick yourself? So
No, that's cool. I like that. I do like that.
thank you. What since we were kind of talking about COVID, what's one thing you miss about like the old world, so to speak? Like, what's one thing that I know there's a lot of them. Like, I know I could name just like 5, but I'm curious because like
I'm gonna name like 2 or 3.
go for it. Yeah, that's totally appropriate.
I definitely miss meeting someone in person is a bit different than meeting someone, right? Like having a friend introduce you at an event is different than meeting someone online. And I think like honestly, the cool thing and like a big blessing of this all happening in 2020 was I can get on FaceTime with whoever. Um, but I do definitely miss meeting people in person or like going out to dinner with like a group of like a small group of people and maybe you don't know a couple people in the group and by the end of the dinner you're best friends with them, right? Like
Yeah.
that stuff's cool. um Obviously I miss live shows. I have to throw that in there, like, and I didn't really realize that I missed them until someone posted a video of like, oh, this was me a year ago or whatever, and I was like, fuck, that shit is fun. Um, yeah, and I mean honestly, like, and I love like going out to dinner with people. Like that's for me is like a fun time. Like obviously, like parties and shit are cool or whatever, but like sitting down with people in person is cool. And live shows, man. What do you miss the most?
Okay. I mean,
You're gonna be live shows guy.
well, that's definitely on the list, but I'm gonna throw a couple curveballs out here.
Yeah,
Playing basketball, like pickup ball. That's definitely one of them.
agreed. Yep, agreed.
Movie theaters. I just miss being able to like, if I want to go escape for a couple hours and just get lost in a movie. That's one thing I love doing. Um, yeah, I mean dinner. You said those, going like grabbing a meal, uh, live shows, sports. I guess really the excitement of sports. Not that it's not exciting now, but just like being able to you
To hear
know,
the crowd roar is different.
yeah, being able to go or whatever. But
Totally.
I don't know. I'm sure if I really think hard about it, I could think of way more. But I guess just meeting some like I guess the live event aspect of you're at a show and say we go together and we meet some like a mutual friend of ours, and then it's just like, that they know you. How am I saying this? I introduce you to someone and they know me, and that you're now cool with that person because me and you are cool,
Sure.
just kind of giving someone an intro and just, or vice versa, and it's like you brought, and you get their info, or just you become friends with this person in like 20 minutes, and it's like shit,
Yeah,
I don't know, just I guess the human on human interaction,
for
I
sure.
guess. But
I mean, like I'm a big proponent of almost like Zoom is next to the best thing, but still it always will not be being in person.
right, I mean,
But like
we're
nothing
sitting across from
really,
each other at a table, it's a way different vibe than us talking to each other on a computer.
for sure. I mean, I think like that's something that, especially over the last 9, 10 months, has been something that I've adjusted to in some sense. Just that, like, this feels maybe like weirdly normal to me,
Yeah, same.
but yeah, like definitely will always, nothing will really ever quite beat this over dinner.
100%. I agree, because there's just so much. I don't know. Grabbing dinner with someone is just, it's just a great time. Just because you
Absolutely.
bond over a meal, you get to, yeah. But one thing that I really think about with all this is what a dopamine rush, or just an adrenaline rush it will be, when we're allowed to go to these things with all these people, when it's like safe and all that. It's like it's going to be so crazy and surreal. Like I think there's just going to be a lot of
That's
people
the thing is like,
tearing up, like, like, man, I'm so happy. Like, it's going to be very emotional and very
yes.
like,
I think what's funny about like what you're talking about is like it's seeming more and more like there's not going to be a moment of there's not going to be a moment of, oh shit, we're free.
right.
And so it's going to be such a gradual thing of, okay, shows are now open for 20 people. Now shows are open for, 1,000 people. Now there's stadium tours. Um, that I think for me, at least, it's going to be like that moment that you're talking about. I'm sure for me won't happen until a while after everything has already like technically been open. You know what I mean?
I think you're right, because I think it's still going to take people time to adjust. People are going to
Exactly.
still be timid and all that.
Yep.
So,
Totally.
um, yeah, that was a good little uh, segment, I guess, if you want to call it. I don't know.
Absolutely.
That's good conversation, man.
Always.
Let's go more into music biz, as they say, or just what you've been doing. So it seems like it was ages ago, but in 2020, you started working for an artist, and I know things have changed and all that, but you worked on one of the biggest songs like of the year. Like, I mean, most any celebrity, I guess that has an online presence was wiping on their mirror and then wiping it off, and they're in a different outfit. So,
It,
yeah,
it's fun. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm just curious, like, I guess I didn't fully elaborate on, but Jack worked alongside somebody. Fuck, why am I blanking on his name?
BMW Kenny.
Yeah, BMW Kenny, um, and another one of your friends,
Mhm.
as like you co-managed him and all that at the time, and you guys brought this record "Wipe It Down" to life, and it turned into this big phenomenon online. And
Yeah.
so, I guess really, I'm not trying to go too nitty gritty into like all this
For sure.
behind the scenes nonsense and whatever, but I'm just curious, like, what changed for you after that, or like what did you really learn from like that time of working on like a record like that? If you can cut, I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I think a few things for me is one thing is like it was a big cultural moment, but the song almost didn't get to as big as the song itself was never as big as it was on TikTok. And so for us, it was like we were constantly kind of while it was going viral, we were kind of trying to pull the song along. And I mean, honestly, like the story went was that Tommy Brannigan and I, who I co-managed him with, um, we found Kenny when it had, 1,000 TikTok videos and like 1,000 or 2,000 Spotify streams. Um, and I think we knew what it was pretty quickly and we knew what it could be. But I mean, quite honestly, it got there quicker than we could have imagined. And the record almost took life of its own. And so for us, it was a lot about like getting people to stream the song. And I think really for me, it was about, and we brought in like a phenomenal digital team in ATG group. We did a great situation with Indify. Nothing but good things to say about both of those teams. Honestly, I don't think we could have had a better team on Wipe It Down. But it was definitely, it was a learning experience for me just in learning the nitty gritties of digital marketing and of having a viral song. And honestly, I think one of the biggest things that I learned aside from the digital stuff was the value of having growing pains with an artist, because we found Kenny, and to his credit, I mean, I think the guy's a genius. We found him, got him on the phone, that night, or maybe it was the next day, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm down. Like, let's run," kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
And I think we kind of thought that we were going to have all this time to get our ducks in a row and whatnot. And really, within like 48 hours, we had, spent a bit of money on a TikTok campaign, but really, like, it was on Kim Kardashian's Instagram story, I think 48 hours after we had officially started managing him.
Oh, wow.
And so it wasn't, we never had the time to go through these growing pains with him, right? Like, it was like we got into it and really had to start running. Um, and so I think that, I mean, like, it really allowed me to see the value of being with someone, for years and then having a moment like that. Like, I can promise you that if we were working with Kenny for a year before and then we had a moment like that, it would have been totally different.
Right. Right.
And that's something that I didn't realize. Like, I had never looked at anything that way. And that's not to say that, we jumped on it and just said, "Oh, this is going to be a quick viral thing. Let's do it." But it became that pretty quickly. And, we had to obviously adjust, right? And so we had to be flexible. And I think it was just hard as a team, for the three of us to get into a really strong stride because we hadn't had a stride before. And so it's like when, one day it's on Kim Kardashian's Instagram story, then Will Smith is doing it, and then we're on, whatever viral charts and whatever. It didn't allow us, I think, to give the record everything that it deserved, just in terms of like our chemistry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So I definitely like, it's something that you hear like the OGs in music say a bunch is, is like, "Oh, like I'll take building with someone for a long time than a quick thing." And I still think that everything is situational, right? Like, I don't believe one way or the other. Um, but in this situation, it was definitely something that I wish that we would have had the growing pains. Like, having a viral song was fun, but I mean, honestly, the song, didn't quite get to where we would have loved it to get to. Um, but a big blessing and nothing but love for Kenny and Tommy and Indify and ATG and everyone else. A phenomenal experience, um, to say the least.
wow, that's incredible. I mean, I'm glad that you're able to speak on that, just like from an open, uh, with an open mind in a sense, and realizing like, we kind of just being aware of
Totally.
how it went down and all that, and being okay with that. That's sometimes you could have very easily dwelled on it, but like you seem to be doing your thing and I've moved
I
past
think
it.
in this situation, everyone did what they could have,
Right.
right? Like everyone did what they could have given all of the circumstances. And so I don't feel like anyone didn't do their job to the best of our ability, right? But I just think there would have been a lot of value in having growing pains leading up to the song is all. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah. We're only human. So, I mean, you got, knowing that you left it all on the line, out there, I think is a great thing to live with. And I'm a big sports guy. So like, I'm kind of comparing it, I guess, or I have a couple, just like that team that I guess in the NCAA tournament that is like, they're like a very low seed, and they upset like a big team and they go on this run, but once they get to the bigger stage, it's kind of, they don't know uh, exactly how to prepare because it's like, it's so new, they're this
Sure.
school with a
Yep.
population of 5,000 and
Absolutely.
here they are in the Final Four where they don't belong. Not that you got, I don't know, sports analogy, or
No, I hear you. No, I hear you.
or
That was
even the
honestly that
Bills where
wasn't
it's
what
like
I thought.
they've found a way to get to this big stage, but it's like, well, I don't know. I get what you're saying though. It's hard to keep it moving when there's not that like,
As
I
tight
don't know
knit
what
of
I'm trying to say. There's not that
cohesiveness.
full cohesive come together, and then you can keep the
Absolutely.
engine moving.
Absolutely.
I hope that made sense, but
Yeah, totally. That wasn't where I thought you were going to go with it, but
yeah,
I like where you did go with it.
I love analogies, man. I love perspective like that. So that's um so the music industry. It's, as everyone, the perception, like people get ripped off, people are sharks, blah 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 blah, like all these perceptions about it. One thing I'm curious to hear your perspective on is what are some challenges though that you think you face when like working in music? Like, do you think it's as bad as people that aren't really in it say it is, or like what's, I don't know, because there's because like there's like a lot, like just like with everything, there's good apples, there's bad apples. Like there's a lot of really cool, good people that work in music, especially like on the younger side, like such as myself. And there's
No,
good people, there's a lot of good folks out there, but I
absolutely.
don't, so I mean, I guess, I mean, more personal challenge or whatever challenges that you may face. I'm curious.
That's a hard one,
I
but
know, I know it is.
I
That's
mean,
why.
like it's like I would need to sit on this for like days to really give you a proper answer. But I think really for me, it is a competitive industry, and I think anyone who says otherwise doesn't get it to some degree. But just like you said, with anything, and I think the music industry is almost like life amplified in that there's the best of people, and for lack of a better word, there's the worst of people. Um, and so for me, I think the big thing has just been looking inside of myself and getting like almost getting used to that competitiveness. And like, cause I think naturally I'm a pretty, I guess I'll say like sensitive guy,
I'm too. So no shame
or
in it.
pretty non-confrontational guy. And these are things that like I've had to work on and is like, not taking things personally. Um, and things like that, because I think it is just a competitive industry, but that's no fault of the industry. That's no fault of anyone in it. That's just the nature of things. And to a certain degree, you got to play the game, right? And so for me, it's been about getting myself um like where I need to be mentally. You know what I mean? Like I think the biggest challenge has literally just been making sure that my head is on straight enough because my head wasn't on straight enough, like in college and whatnot. Like, and my head's still not on as straight as I would like it to be. And so that for me has been the biggest challenge. Um, not, not any particular work thing. Like I think I'm fine with doing the work, and things of that nature, and being a people person and all that jazz. But really just keeping my head on straight and holding my values true to myself while still adapting and adjusting and being better every day. Make sense?
Yeah, yeah. That was a great points and insight.
Appreciate you.
I think you couldn't have said it better. I mean, I'm sitting here trying to figure out what to say to that because that was powerful.
I appreciate you.
I guess my counter though is just like what like I guess what keeps you going through like the tougher times, because you know
I mean, the easy answer is
there's the highest of highs. Wait, what? What's that?
I was just gonna say the easy answer is the music.
Oh yeah, right.
I mean, that's like the
The
arguably the
music.
cop out answer.
It is.
Because you're right. Like, yeah, there's the highest of highs and the lowest of lows.
So I guess like what kind of keeps you going through it? Like just like where it's like I'm not gonna like so it's very easy to just like move on with your life or just like all right, like this is not gonna work for me. Like I'm just gonna go do something else, whatever. Like but like I guess like
Honestly,
what keeps you motivated? Because I see a lot of people tweet about it. Just like I have these thoughts every day where like I almost want to give up, but then I just keep going, and it's like I'm curious, like what?
for me, okay, so it starts with the music, right?
Yeah,
Like the
no doubt.
inception of everything is the music. Um, because I think without losing, excuse me, without having that as your North Star, you're a bit lost in the music industry. Um, but with that being said, really it's the people. And it's really the fact that I've found people who push me to be better every day and who I feel like genuinely give a shit about me, but will tell it like it is. Um, and so I mean, really for me, it's the fucking people.
Okay.
And that's something that I didn't know would ever even be a factor coming in. I think it's easy for people to either, stay away from their industry friends or get, too into the industry. Oh, I'm super industry, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but for me, that's what keeps me going. Really, is just the people. Um, Maybe I'm not articulating this as well as I would like to.
No, I think you're doing a great job. That
Yeah, but it's the people.
keep
And it's
having
the
the good
people.
people around.
It's having people around you who have similar goals and are doing similar things and who will tell you to shut the fuck up if you're, complaining. I mean, really, like genuinely, I value that. Like, I have friends where I will be like, yo, if I'm complaining too much, just tell me to shut the fuck up.
Hey
And
Jack, shut
I
the
love
fuck
that.
up. No,
Genuinely, I love
just
that.
kidding. Yeah.
What did you say?
No, saying, hey Jack, shut the fuck up, man. No, I'm just kidding. Joking.
Like, really, like, I love that. Like, I don't know. Anyway.
I think that's great. I think having people that can hold you accountable is like because I mean we're all fault, a fault of our flaws or just be because one thing that I guess always keeps me going is like there's like millions of people or thousands of people that would love to be in your position. Like, why are you ungrateful or feeling, any type of way? Or, it could be worked through. But I think you seem to have a lot of good people in your corner. And I think that's definitely one of the most important things because I think kind of what we alluded to earlier, it's impossible to bring it 110% every day. Not that you don't give that effort, but like sometimes you're just not fully feeling it or just you're off, you're sick, whatever. Like so it's good to have people that can remind you to push past it or just to
Exactly.
give you that
Exactly. I
boost
think
that you
for me,
need.
that's exactly what it is say if I wake up and I'm not feeling it that day, then having people to tell me to shut the fuck up, then okay, now I'm back and let's bring it today. Um, I mean, it goes back to the whole idea of like you are the five closest people around you. Um, and for whatever reason, I really feel like that's the truth. Um, and so surrounding yourself with good people, I think there's nothing more important. Um, People that you can help and can help you, and you can ideally grow together, is the biggest blessing. And I like what you said too, which is that like being grateful every day and realizing that, oh shit, like for me, sometimes it's like, fuck, I work in music. Like really 5 years ago, Jack would have killed, like I'm not nearly where I want to be, but 5 years ago, Jack would have killed to be where I am now. Um, which is the coolest thing.
Yeah, I think that just to reflect and have that perspective is super important. It's what keeps it going. I mean, I swear, but it's not always easy, but easier said than done.
Exactly.
So,
Easy
but we're trying our best. I think
every day.
one thing I've learned is just to give yourself more credit when even if it's a little thing, like you know you made it through the week, give yourself a pat on the back. Let's
Yeah.
figure out how we can be better next week. But
There you go.
this this is the kind of thing that I'm really curious to dive in with you, because I think you have a lot of good things to say here, but I kind of want to talk about mental health, and especially in music.
Let's
Like,
do it.
is that something that you struggle with? Like, whether it's anxiety or depression, or just if you want to open up about that. If you don't, totally
Yeah,
cool.
I mean, I'll
We
open up
can move
like a
on to the
bit.
next part of that. But
Yeah. Yes. I mean, are you just asking me to kind of tell like my like personally how I view mental health in the music industry?
yeah, like I mean, like I kind of what I have on my notes is just like, do you struggle with it? What does the industry need to do better about it? Just because like it's more like I feel like the music industry is too much like, um, here's the money, get it done. Like we don't care. Like like we're paying you. This is how it's done.
For sure.
To a certain extent. I mean, it's not like people don't have, but it's like most you're dealing in business, so it's like it's a very weird fine line. But like I
Yeah, it
know
really
like
is.
we're us younger folks are much more aware about it.
Yeah.
So it's like I think um it's just an important discussion, an important thing to be aware of. So I don't know. I'm just curious about like your thoughts on it, and the
Yeah, I mean, like something, and I don't know. I guess I don't make this too public, not really intentionally. And like some people, when I say this, they're like, "Wait, what?" But I like definitely have struggled throughout my life pretty bad with anxiety issues. Um, and I guess before I dive into like the deep music industry stuff, a lot of people like love like therapy, and I think therapy is great. I would recommend biofeedback therapy to people, which is like this different type of therapy
hmm,
that like basically like they hook you up to like they put like little not magnets, but they put little sensors like on your head and on your hand. And really what it does is like it's designed to like the sensors on your hand will pick up your sweat glands and how much you're sweating. And so the idea behind this type of therapy is that you sit in a chair with, all these sensors hooked up to you, and you don't get to leave until you have calmed yourself down. And so like for example, there's one that I did, and this was a while back, and this was in college. But where I went and sat down, and there's a waterfall in front of me on a screen, and I'm hooked up to these sensors, and the water doesn't flow until I have relaxed myself, which is like the coolest fucking technology thing, right? Am I explaining this well?
yeah, you are that sounds incredible. I've never even heard of that in my entire life.
I wouldn't say that to say that it changed my life would be very dramatic. Um, but it definitely helped give me tools. Or rather it helped me understand that I have control over my anxiety. right? Or just like generally like my emotions. And I think just more than like the technicalities of it, just that understanding that I have control over myself was a huge fucking thing for me. So anyway, anyone that ever asks me about like mental health, anything that's like, oh, like I'm gonna go to therapy, you know, what should I look for in a therapist? Or like if especially if it's like an anxiety related thing, I'll say, yo, go try biofeedback therapy. Um, just because I think biofeedback therapy is the coolest thing. Um, and then as far as the music industry, I'm gonna kind of take an unpopular route at this. And I think people need to be more honest with themselves and each other.
Damn. That's, I mean, you're right. I mean, you're
think
right,
I
man. You're
think
right.
it's really easy to get caught up in the wanting to be nice to everyone. And like obviously like I pride myself on I guess kindness. That's such a shitty value, but like I pride myself on I guess just being a good person, right?
Yeah.
Uh, but I think that people in music are not often on like they'll try to be nice to where it doesn't help the other person. And then that person then goes off in the deep end because all they've gotten is people telling them nice things. And this is it's tricky to say from coming from someone who like has had like a handful of mental health issues,
Mhm.
uh, and been fucking prescribed every drug in the book and whatnot. Which that's a whole other conversation. I'm not a big proponent of that stuff, but like do what you need.
Yeah,
Uh,
of course, of course.
but like I think if everyone were more honest about the industry and each other and whatnot, I think things would go over better. Um, because I think it's really easy for people to say, "Oh, the music industry doesn't take care of their mental health," and the solution to that just be nice to everyone. Yeah, I absolutely think you should be nice to everyone. I absolutely value kindness. But sometimes you not being honest to someone about, say if it's their work, say, for example, if my boss says, "Oh, Jack, you're doing a great job," and she continues to tell me that I'm doing a great job when my work is getting worse and worse, then in 6 months, I'm screwed because she's going to want to get rid of me.
Yeah.
But if she had been honest in the beginning and said, "Hey, pick up X, Y, and Z," 6 months later, I'd be way fucking better.
Yeah. I mean, how can you know if they're not giving you honest feedback? Because it's like
Exactly.
if they're saying good job, you think what you're doing is right. But in
Exactly.
actuality, if
I
it's not
think
right, it's just going to continue, and then it's going to blow up in your face, and then it's like, what? I thought I was doing a good job. It's like, no, I was just being nice. It's like, what?
no, exactly. And like
Yeah.
I think like just being just asking everyone to only be nice to you will not indirectly, but will lead to you getting tossed around. And I
Yeah.
think that I almost think that you need to build people up instead of tearing them down. And part of building them up is saying, what's wrong with the building, right? Like if you're trying to build a skyscraper, you better have the foundation right, and the second floor better be really good. But if the second floor is kind of weak, then by the time you get to building the 15th floor, then it's going to topple.
Yeah, it's going to collapse.
I don't know how I feel about that analogy, but
I see where you're going. Like,
yeah, but I think honesty can be a great tool. It also can obviously be a bad tool. Not be a bad tool, be a harming tool. Um, Yeah, but I definitely think people need to build each other up, and spread love and honest love, right? Like,
I think honest love is important. I mean,
yeah,
I think this is the way I kind of I think the way what you're getting at is people need to be more careful with their words. Like it's very easy to just be nice and nice and nice, but I think if you're able to give good feedback without being a straight dickhead about it is
exactly.
super more important because like you said, I mean, if you're just going to tear this person down and they have no, I think it's important to be like, hey, like this is great, blah 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 blah. This is what I like, but I think this could use some work, and I think this you should really focus on trying to do this better or whatever. Like instead of just going straight to the problem, and just being like, boom,
Yep. I mean, if yeah,
find positives, and then obviously highlight the negative versus just giving straight negative, negative,
yep.
negative. I don't know. Maybe that's just my method, but everyone has their own thing. So I guess that's just kind of how I view it. Like I think it's just careful with your words because not that like you got to. It's a weird fine line. I don't know, man. It's like be nice and be kind, be like decent human being, but also no, not letting people cross that line where it's like, yeah, you can be buddy buddy and nice to this person, but then like if you don't know them, but then it's like if they come at you out of you should have be able to tell them, hey, like I appreciate that, but that that doesn't sit well with me, or like that's out of line. I don't think we can work together, or whatever the
For sure.
scenario, So I
Yeah,
think
I agree. I like everything that you said. I mean, I don't know, dude.
the
It's a crazy
weird.
world. And like you said, like there are all these different lines that like you got to ride well. Um, and yeah, man. I mean, I think people need to spread more love and shit. I mean, I
That's
think like
love goes a long way, man. Love goes a long way.
yeah, bro. Like building people up is tight.
It
Anyway,
is. It is. Um, what are some things that you like outside of music and like your work and all that? Like, basketball. I know you're a basketball fan. What else are you kind of into for
you know,
anyone that may not know?
when you said that in my mind, I was just gonna say Sacramento Kings, and that's it.
Sacramento Kings. Okay, yeah. I
Like,
love De'Aaron Fox. Great player.
great player.
Tyrese Halliburton. He's a young up and comer too. He's looking like
I
he's
would be
good.
lying if I said that I've watched a ton of NBA games this season. I don't know that I've turned on one, but what I've seen and heard, Tyrese Halliburton is going to be exciting.
Yeah,
Uh,
I haven't watched any either really. I'm in a fantasy basketball league, so I keep up with the stats, and
gotcha.
I'm kind of a stats junkie, and like I can remember names really easily. So
For
it's
sure.
like, yeah, but the boys, Sacramento's looking good, man. They're on
I
their way
hope.
up. Just the West is so damn tough. So
I mean, I I think that any Kings fan who says that the Kings are going to make a run for the championship this year is like lying to themselves. Admittedly, I've been saying that for 10 years, um, but I'm excited. I'm always excited for the Kings, and also I love like you said earlier, like that you miss playing basketball. I definitely miss playing basketball. Like I'm not phenomenal, but fuck, dude, there's nothing like a pickup game. Uh, only a pickup game, and then going to get some good food and going home to work or whatever.
just that bond that you create with the people you're playing pickup with, it's tight. It's
Yeah, I love that shit. I also like. I'm trying to kind of get a little bit more healthy, start working out a little bit more, which has been something that I've newly picked up in the pandemic, which honestly I would not have touched before. But yeah, man, like being active is tight.
it is. It makes you feel a lot better. I've
I never got that honestly until the last like year. But like I never because I think I just was always active. That just was what it was. You know what I mean? So I never knew not being active, but I was never like purposefully active. It was just like what I like to do, be it, go on runs or play basketball or throw football or whatever. Um, and now I'm starting to get why when people are like, oh, like working out in the morning makes me feel better throughout the rest of the day. Now I get it. And I never got that.
It's weird. It's weird. I don't know if it's just like an aging thing or if it's just like, I don't know. It's just like you slow down a bit, and it's like such a big pickup. I don't know. I don't know science like that, but it's I totally hear what you're saying. It's phenomenal. It's great. But if you can predict the future, what does it look like? I'm kidding. What's going on with you going forward? Any goals or future plans that that you're excited about, or what's going on in the world with Jack? What's cooking up? If
I mean, I'm
yeah,
gonna answer this question generally. I think. I
okay,
think I'm
yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
super general here. Um, and obviously I have more specific goals, but I think like the best way to answer this is general. And I think for me, I want to have a big impact on music, and that's because music had a big impact on me growing up, and helped me in ways that I could have never imagined. And so for me, it's the future is having an impact on music and the world and people. Like really, at the root of it, it's people. It's just the message is through music, right? Um, so yeah, man. I mean, I think in the future we're gonna see flying cars and shit. But yeah, for me, it's having an impact on people via music and doing that at a high level to a lot of people, with a lot of people. Yeah, man. That's that.
I love that impact. That's the biggest impact and paying it forward, man. That's all we can.
Exactly.
Many people want to do this for the wrong reasons. They want to have their platforms for the wrong reasons, but I know you're a good soul. You're a great person. So you nothing but good intentions. So
Appreciate it.
I'll see you at the top, brother. Where you're on your way.
Man, you too,
It's
bro. I'm excited. I mean, like honestly, I'm thrilled for that's the cool thing about music, especially is like to be thrilled for the future and focus on the present. Um, or it's almost like focusing on the present leads to the thrill of the future. You know what I mean? In some ways. Yeah, man. We're blessed.
namaste. Yeah, that's super blessed. So I mean, that was. I don't think that was general at all. I thought that was a great answer.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. This is the segment kind of where we wrap it up. This is what I call closing thoughts.
Closing
Whatever
thought.
you want to end the show with, plug whatever words of wisdom, etc. Whatever you want to say. It's kind of like your goodbye, I guess. If
Yeah,
you
I
just want
have
to say, yo,
nothing.
follow me on the gram, and then
Yeah,
like
I
okay,
mean,
but
like, yeah, sure.
so,
Go follow me on
what
shit.
what
Whatever. Right? Like, yeah, sure. Follow.
whatever you want to say is this is your time. This is your forum.
Uh, no, I mean, the only thing that I wanted to say is thank you. You to go. This is sick. Like I love what you're doing with this, that it's just about like genuine people and genuine conversations. And I appreciate you having me on. This is tight. I'm excited to see where you take this. Excited to see where you go with this and everything else. Yeah, man. That's all I got.
Man, that was a hell of a closing. Thank you. That means so much to me, and just hearing words like that help keep me going. So like
Okay.
that's
Thanks for having
that means a lot to me. But everyone, it's been a pleasure talking with my man Jack. Here on the RPD show. Um, go hit him up or look him up if you want. But he'll happy to
me. Hit
answer
me up.
questions or just
Hit me up. My
you know
DM is open.
DM him. spam. No, don't spam them. But
Whatever gets the job done.
yeah. All right. Well, it's been a real pleasure. Can't thank you enough, Jack. I appreciate you, bro.
Likewise, appreciate you.